Let's start off with the Angels, and I think they need to buy and sell. They've been playing pretty well as of late, and they're right there in the wild card hunt, so I think you can make the argument that they should add something, but also try to clear off some pieces as well. Now, for example, maybe they could move someone like Tyler Anderson in his expiring contract. That way you could open up a rotation spot for Reed Detmers, who's been pitching well out of the bullpen. You could also move someone like Yoel Moncada or Luis Rengifo to get back some value. And on the other hand, I think they could add a disciplined bat as well to help them with the lineup, since they only rank 27th at on-base percentage. I don't think they have the assets really to pull off a big trade, but maybe a rental for someone like Marcell Ozuna, Josh Naylor, or Ryan O'Hearn. They could put it in the middle of the order. On to the Astros. They've been playing great lately, but I think they need to add one more bat for the lineup now. Who knows when Yordan Alvarez is going to come back, and even when he does, it wouldn't hurt to add some more protection for the lineup. Now, preferably, I think they should go after a left-handed bat since they already have a ton of righties in the lineup, but I think they could go a couple of different ways here. You could get someone to play left field, say Cedric Mullins or Jesus Sanchez, someone to play first base like Ryan O'Hearn or Josh Naylor. O'Hearn could also play left field, or they could possibly go after a second baseman, have Altuve go back out to left field, say maybe go after Brandon Lau if the Rays make him available. For the A's, I think they need to bring in some young pitching. Now they're out of it, but I do like the upside with the offense over the next couple of years, but the pitching though hasn't been very good. They rank dead last in starting pitching, 27th in relief pitching, so they got to get that shirt up over the next couple of years. Now one trade candidate is Luis Severino. Now you might be asking, Robbie, you just said they need pitching. Why would they trade their best one? Well, remember, they basically had to sign someone this past offseason, or the Players Union were going to file a grievance against them. And Severino recently made comments about not being a fan of the A's temporary ballpark in Sacramento. Also, he's been a lot better on the road, posting an ERA just above a 3 in road games, and at home, his ERA is close to a 7. My goodness. Now, he's definitely a veteran that can help a lot of postseason contenders. Now, I say try to move him, bring back some young arms that you could use to build your rotation over the next few years. And they got some other veteran guys like Gio Urshela, Miguel Andujar, Luis Urias, maybe JJ Bleday as well. But the A's, I think they need to shore up the pitching within the organization. On to the Blue Jays, and I think they got to add something for the rotation. Now, the bullpen has bounced back in a huge way this year after having the worst bullpen all of last season, and the offense has been solid, ranking 9th overall in WRC+. But when it comes to the starting pitching, they only rank 26th as of right now, and they could use some more upside there alongside Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, and Chris Bassett. Now, they don't have much in terms of high-value prospects that they would be willing to part with, but I think they could get something done for guys that shouldn't cost an arm and a leg, like a rental, such as Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Eric Fetty, for example, or they could take on an underwater contract like Luis Severino, or maybe a contract with some surplus value like Sandy Alcantara or Mitch Keller, but they would have to pony up some of their higher-ranked prospects to get that done. For the Braves, I think they need to do a buy and sell. Now, the Braves are in a tough spot right now. They're 7 games under 500, 7.5 back in the wild card race, along with having one of the lower-ranked farm systems in the game. So it's hard to justify them fully adding at this point, but they still have a lot of talent on this team. I think they're capable of going on a second-half run. Now, they have a couple of expiring contracts like Marcell Ozuna, Raisel Iglesias, so maybe they could clear those guys, trade them somewhere else to bring back some value for the future, but also look to add something that can help them in the second half, say something for left field, where that's been a terrible position for them this year. I could see someone like Jarren Duran, who they have been connected to this year so far in trade rumors, someone that you could have under control for the next few years that can help you stay in contention during that time, or maybe someone like Luis Robert. They could also look to move Sean Murphy since Greg Baldwin has broken out this year. For the Brewers, I think they should try to add future value while still staying in contention. Now, every year, despite being a small market team, the Brewers find a way to stay in the thick of things, and that's because they always have one eye on now and tomorrow. A perfect example of this was them trading away their closer Josh Hader a few years ago, who still had another year of control while they were in first place, or their ace Corbin Burns last offseason helped bring in some young, cost-controlled talent. Now, I honestly think they could do this again with someone like Freddie Peralta, who has 1 year left before free agency. He has a club option for next year, or Rhys Hoskins, who's in the last year of his contract. Now, I could see Freddie Peralta being expendable because Jacob Misarowski has been great since getting called up, and Brandon Woodruff is coming back soon. Now, teams in contention would line up for Peralta, and I think the Brewers would get back a great package in return, and I think they still could get back some major league ready talent to help them. I think something for the bullpen would really help the Brewers, where they have an ERA at a 4.22. On to the Cardinals, and I think they should take a similar approach to the Brewers, adding future value value, but still staying in contention. Now, they have a lot of guys hitting free agency soon, like Ryan Helsley, Eric Fetty, Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz, and Phil Maton, that they could move to bring back some talent, and other guys in the organization, like Michael McGreevy, could step up for them. They could also look to move Nolan Arenado in his remaining contract. That could open up some playing time for Thomas Sahazi. Now, if they were to add something while trading away some guys, I would say either another arm for the bullpen that would be cheap to acquire, like Seranthony Dominguez, or maybe even a cost-controlled arm that can help them over the next few years, like Edward Cabrera. For the Cubs, they need to add another starting pitcher. Now, the Cubs are a good team this year, but after losing Justin Steele, they could use someone else at the top of the rotation, especially someone with some upside. Someone like Sandy Alcantara, who is starting to look better as of late. If the Diamondbacks sell, I think Merrill Kelly would be a good fit for them. Maybe Zach Gallen. They got a good pitching department there. Maybe they could help him get back on track. Maybe they could take on the contract of Mitch Keller if the Pirates are okay trading in division, because the Cubs do have some bats at the top of their farm system that could help out the Pirates over the next few years. Maybe they can call the A's about Luis Severino. Maybe someone like Chris Bubic or Seth Lugo if the Royals decide to sell. Or maybe they could buy low on Walker Buehler to try and get him turned around. Speaking of the Diamondbacks, I think they should regroup for next year. Now, as of right now, they're 4 games out of the wild card. They're not exactly out of it, but they have taken some big hits this year, losing Corbin Burns for the season due to Tommy John. Now Corbin Carroll's on the shelf indefinitely with a wrist fracture. So when you don't have your ace, you don't have your best hitter, you're already fighting an uphill battle at that point. And sure, maybe you can just try to keep going and fight through it. But when you have guys on expiring contracts like Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, there's definitely an argument to focus on getting future value, because you could definitely get back some good players for those guys. Now, another thing the D-backs could do is go after a cost-controlled player or someone that's on a contract that could help them out for next year, because Burns is going to miss most of next season, while Gallen and Kelly are going to be hitting free agency. Maybe a cost-controlled arm like Edward Cabrera, or a guy on a contract like Freddie Peralta, Sandy Alcantara, Luis Severino, or Mitch Keller. Staying in the NL West, I think the Dodgers need to add a starting pitcher. Now, the Dodgers are tied for the best record in Major League Baseball as of right now, which really shows how good they are with all the injuries they've had, mainly in the rotation with Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, Tony Gonsolin, all on the IL as of right now. Now, sure, Yoshinobu Yamamoto's having a great year. Shohei Ohtani just went back to the rotation. Clayton Kershaw has been solid since coming back, but they really need another arm, in my opinion, especially someone that can help them with innings in the second half. And of course, the Dodgers are World Series contenders, and with the prospects they have, they should definitely shoot for the best out there. Someone like Freddie Peralta, who I mentioned earlier, Sandy Alcantara, if he's looking like he's fully turned a corner, or maybe Seth Lugo from the Royals, if he's available. Staying in the NL West again, and I think the Giants need to add one more bat. Now, you could say they're already winners of the deadline this year by adding one of the best bats in the game in Rafi Devers, and it might sound crazy to say that they need another bat, but I think it would really help. Now, they rank in the top 10 with both their starting pitching and the bullpen, but since the Rafi trade a couple of weeks ago, they only ranked 24th in offense. Now, whether or not Rafi stays at DH or eventually plays first base, I think adding one more guy to fill in at either spot would go a long way. Now, there's a lot of guys out there. You got Ryan O'Hearn, Josh Naylor, Rhys Hoskins that can play first base, or maybe they can go after Marcell Ozuna to be the DH. For the Guardians, they need another bat. Now, as of right now, despite another good year from Jose Ramirez, they only rank 25th overall in offense, with the outfield only ranking 27th, and that's with Stephen Kwan. Nolan Jones, Lane Thomas have not been able to get it done in center and right field, so guys like Cedric Mullins, Jesus Sanchez, I think would be reasonable upgrades. Taylor Ward or Adolis Garcia if available, or maybe they could splurge on someone like Jarren Duran. On to the Mariners, and they need to make an upgrade at either first or third base. Now, as of right now, the Mariners rank 21st in first base production and 22nd at third base. Now, there's a lot of guys out there that would be great fits. I've already mentioned a few. Ryan O'Hearn, Josh Naylor, Rhys Hoskins for first base, or maybe someone that I mentioned earlier, Nolan Arenado, Yoan Moncada if they make him available, or maybe Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. For the Marlins, I think they need to cash in on Sandy Alcantara and Edward Cabrera. Now, the Marlins are in clear rebuild mode, and with Sandy pitching better as of late, along with Edward Cabrera looking the best and healthiest in his career up to this point, the Marlins got to take advantage of that. Now, this would open up opportunities for younger guys down the road, like their top pitching prospect Thomas White and their number 3 prospect Robbie Snelling. For the Mets, I think they need one more bat for the lineup, especially since they've been struggling lately outside of Juan Soto and preferably in the outfield. Now, it doesn't look like there's a return in sight for Jose Siri anytime soon, so an everyday option for center field would make a lot of sense in my opinion. Now, they do have a righty bat in Tyrone Taylor, so maybe a lefty like Jarren Duran or Cedric Mullins, or someone like Luis Robert they can try to get back on track, who could cover a lot of ground in that spacious outfield. Hey everybody, just letting you know this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy sports this season. Use code HYDE to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That's a great deal. Take advantage. That's free money to just get in the game. Whether you're just drafting a best ball team or making pick'em entries, Underdog makes it simple, fast, and super fun. You can win real money by just picking higher or lower on your favorite player's stats. No season-long stress, no waivers, no drama. And also, if you download today and for the month of July using the code HYDE, Underdog is going to give you a free mystery pick. Again, use the code HYDE at sign up to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Download the app, and we got the QR code right here on the screen. Go take advantage. Go win yourself some money. And of course, like always, please play responsibly. On to the Nationals, and I think they need to get back some players that can help them in 2026 and beyond. Now, the Nats are out of it once again, and I didn't think they were going to be contenders this year, but I honestly thought they were going to look a lot better than they have so far, especially with all the young talent they have. Now, they've had problems both offensively and the pitching outside of James Wood, Mackenzie Gore, and CJ Abrams. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to fix everything this deadline, and they're going to have to go out there this offseason and spend some money, but I think trying to get some young players that can contribute for next year could go a long way. Trading guys like Kyle Finnegan, who's having a good year as their closer this year, could definitely bring something back. There's also Michael Soroka, who has good advanced metrics that look a lot better than the surface numbers. Maybe he can go to a team with a better defense. On to the Orioles, and they need to be big sellers and add to the roster for 2026 and beyond. Sure, they have been playing better as of late. They win 16-11 in the month of June, but they're still 10 games under 500. They're still a ways out in the wild card race. So I say sell off some guys at the deadline, add some future value, finish the season strong, and carry that momentum into 2026. They have plenty of guys that could bring back a lot of value, and I know Orioles fans, they're very grumpy with Mike Elias as of late, but if there is one guy that could help bring back a lot of young talent, it is Mike Elias. Now, they have guys like Ryan O'Hearn, Cedric Mullins, Zach Eflin, Tomoyuki Sagano, and Charlie Morton that could definitely help bring back some young guys to supplement next year's roster, which still has a ton of talent like Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, Jordan Westberg, and hopefully a healthy Grayson Rodriguez. Now, I also don't think it's completely out of the question for them to make a move that could help them for next season at the Major League roster, like Sandy Alcantara, or maybe even Freddie Peralta that they could put at the top of the rotation for 2026. The Padres are very interesting, and I think they need to buy and sell. Now, they got off to a good start this year, going 19-11, but since then, they're only 26-28 since the beginning of May. Dylan Cease, Michael King, they are going to be free agents soon, along with King dealing with shoulder issues. Things are looking a little murky there, but they also still have the talent to be able to compete, along with Yu Darvish coming back soon, and hopefully eventually Michael King. Now, if they were to add, they've been connected with Jarren Duran so far this season in trade rumors. I think it would make a lot of sense there with his speed. I think he would fit very well at Petco Park and will give them another bat in the lineup. I think Luis Robert, even though he's a center fielder, would be a very good fit. With the speed that he has, he can cover a lot of ground out there in the spacious outfield at Petco Park, or maybe they can go for another bat like Marcell Ozuna. He could be the DH, and then Gavin Sheets can go out to left field. Now, I also wonder if someone like Dylan Cease could be a trade candidate, because he is a free agent soon, and he's a Scott Boras client, so he's definitely going to be getting paid a lot of money this offseason. That could definitely help bring back some value for them for the future. You would definitely get a lot for Dylan Cease at the deadline, and Yu Darvish is coming back, so maybe they could trade away Dylan Cease. Yu Darvish could take his place in the rotation, and then maybe Michael King come back eventually, and they could be okay. I don't know, just a thought, but they have some other guys like Luis Ariz, Robert Suarez, and Jason Adam that could bring back some value as well. On to the Phillies, and they need to add something for the bullpen, preferably someone with good velocity, because they only rank 22nd overall in average fastball velo with their relief pitching. Now, someone like Kyle Finnegan, I think, could make a lot of sense, or David Bednar on clear selling teams, or guys like Pete Fairbanks, Aroldis Chapman, Yohan Duran, Felix Bautista, Emmanuel Nathaniel Clase if they're available. On to the Pirates, and they need to sell, and sell some more. Now, Paul Skeens desperately needs some bats behind him, and I think they need to do whatever they can to get some either Major League ready bats or at least close to Major League ready bats. Now, I think everyone besides Skeens and the few good bats they have like Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, and Nick Gonzalez should be on the table. Now, the main candidates to me that have good value would be Mitch Keller, David Bednar, Dennis Santana, Bailey Falter, and maybe they could even find a taker for someone like Brian Hayes, who's in the middle of an 8-year contract. For the Rangers, they need to add a bat. Now, they're in a weird spot right now. They're 3 games under 500, but they're still within range of a wild card spot. Now, the biggest problem with the Rangers so far has been the offense, where they only rank 26th on the year. Now, to me, I've said him a couple of times here already, Marcell Ozuna, I think, would be a perfect fit. He can be the DH. Jake Berger can play first base. Josh Smith could move out to the outfield, or maybe they could just add a first baseman like Ryan O'Hearn or Josh Naylor. On to the Rays, and I think they should do what they always do, sell high, but have other players within the organization step up. Now, the Rays are the blueprint of one eye on the present and one eye on the future. Now, just last year, they moved Randy Arozarena and Isaac Paredes, and here they are holding a wild card spot. Now, why not do the same thing with guys like Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, and they could have guys like Chandler Simpson or Curtis Mead step up for them. And don't forget, Ha-Seong Kim is going to be coming back soon. Even someone like Pete Fairbanks or even Zach Littell could get moved, and they could have guys like Joe Boyle, Ian Seymour, maybe Connor Siebold step up for them with the pitching staff. Now, if the Rays were to add, which they have done in the past, I don't think it would hurt to bolster the rotation for the second half and for a postseason run. Now, Shane McClanahan, he is going to be coming back soon, but you don't know what his health is going to look like. So why not go after someone either cost-controlled like Edward Cabrera or a rental like Merrill Kelly? On to my Red Sox, and boy, oh boy, where to begin. But I think they need to buy and sell. Now, they're currently 2 games under 500, but they're still within range of a wild card spot. Now, when it comes to buying, I think they really need to add someone with upside for the rotation behind Garrett Crochet, a clear number 2 in the rotation. Someone under control like Freddie Peralta, if he's available, I think would be a perfect fit, or even just a rental like Merrill Kelly, who I've mentioned a couple of times, if available, could go a long way for this year. Now, when it comes to the offense, without Rafi Devers anymore, they do have Alex Bregman and Masataka Yoshida coming back soon to help them out, but I think they could still use an everyday option at first base, which might serve them better in the long run instead of a platoon between Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro. Someone like Ryan O'Hearn, Josh Naylor, or even Rhys Hoskins can make some sense. However, they could still sell simultaneously. Now, with the outfield, they got Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, Cedar Rafaela, and Roman Anthony, who just got called up not too long ago. But with Masataka Yoshida coming back to be the DH soon, they got a logjam out there, 4 guys looking for 3 spots. So I think either Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu could get moved. Now, when it comes to the pitching staff, I think someone like Walker Buehler could get moved. It hasn't looked like a great fit so far. He's struggled a lot this year with the Red Sox. He's had a couple of good starts along the way, but for the most part, he's had a hard time. I think maybe he could be a change of scenery kind of a guy. And then there's also Aroldis Chapman in the bullpen. Now, remember in the Rafi trade, they just brought back Jordan Hicks. Now, they got a lot of arms in this bullpen that could potentially take over as the closer. You know, Jordan Hicks, you got Garrett Whitlock, Greg Weisser, Justin Slayton, if he comes back eventually. So maybe the Red Sox could go with one of those guys or a combination of those guys, and they could bring back some value for Chapman. For the Reds, I think they need a bat, preferably someone at first base. Now, the offense has underachieved this year, ranking 19th overall, but when it comes to first base, they only rank 28th on the year. Now, I've already mentioned some first basemen in the video so far, Ryan O'Hearn, Josh Naylor, maybe even Nathaniel Lowe on the Nationals, who has struggled with them this year. Maybe he could be a change of scenery candidate. I think Great American Ballpark could be a good fit for him. For the Rockies, I think they should sell, with the most obvious candidate being German Marquez, who is going to be a free agent after this season, and I think he would benefit from being in a pitcher-friendly park. I would also say it's worth into looking to move Ryan McMahon, but they may have to eat some of his contract to get value back. On to the Royals, and I think they need to add some offense. Now, they have good pitching in Kansas City, but their offense stinks, ranking 27th overall, and the outfield production ranks dead last by a country mile with only a 60 WRC plus combined. Now, a rental like Cedric Mullins, I think, would help them a lot. maybe even cost-controlled options like Luis Robert. Maybe they could splurge on Jarren Duran or Willie Bray, who I mentioned earlier. And another thing with the Royals is they are in a pretty solid position to get back someone of good value, since they do have some pitching that could be available with someone like Chris Bubic, who's having a breakout year, and he's a year away from free agency, or a potential rental like Seth Lugo, who has a player option after this year. Could be a good veteran guy for a team out there looking to add some pitching. For the Tigers, they need to beef up the bullpen. Now, as of right now, they're tied for the best record in Major League Baseball thanks to a top 5 offense and one of the best rotations led by Tarek Skubal, but when it comes to the bullpen, they only rank 23rd in relief pitching, mainly due to a low strikeout rate, and they could use some more velo in the bullpen as well. Now, some arms I've already mentioned so far that have good strikeout numbers are David Bednar, Brian Helsley, Aroldis Chapman. I did mention they have one of the best rotations in baseball, but I would love for the Tigers to go out there and add another solid option behind Skubal and Flaherty that could serve them well in a 7-game series in the postseason. On to the Twins, and I think they should sell. Now, they got hot at one point, but they've been cold since and are currently 4 games under 500. Now, the problem with the Twins is they have a lot of injury concerns with Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Royce Lewis, Joe Ryan, and now their ace, Pablo Lopez, is on the IL with a shoulder issue. Who knows when he comes back? Now, I think at this point, it could be worth looking to see what you can get back for guys like Chris Paddock, who's going to be a free agent after this year. Since teams are always looking for pitching, maybe you could even see what you can get back for Yohan Duran. He is under a lot of control. They don't have to move him, but if a team is willing to overpay for him, why not look into it? And I don't think it's a bad idea at all to see if there's a market for guys like Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton, who are on big contracts, but that could help free up some payroll and could clear up some playing time for the younger guys. For the White Sox, they need to move Luis Robert. I mean, this one's obvious. He's been on the trade block for like 92 years now, but get him moved now, even though he has struggled this year, because he's always an injury risk. And last but not least, I think the Yankees need to find a permanent solution for third base. Now, as of right now, they have Jazz Chisholm playing third and DJ LeMahieu playing second, but DJ has really struggled up to this point. In my opinion, Jazz is a better fit for second base anyway because of his range, and I think they should go out there and get someone like Eugenio Suarez, who would give more protection to Aaron Judge in the lineup with all the power he's got. He's got almost 30 home runs so far, and maybe they could even do a package deal with Suarez. Maybe they could include someone like Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, to give them a third option behind Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. But everybody, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Tell me what you think your favorite team's need is down below. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.